Hey everybody, Jeff Schneider here, and in today's video I'm going to show you another beat/chord progression that I put together this morning. Wanted to share it with you guys and break it down for you so you can see how all the piano voicings work and how you get that hip-hop jazz sound. So let's get right to it. I'm going to play the beat for you and then we'll break it down. 1, 2, 3. So there you go. That is the beat. That's the chord progression. And the first thing I want to point out is that it's actually pretty easy to play that first part. It's mostly just one voicing repeated over and over again. So let's first talk about that voicing. I start on a C major 7 with that 9 on top. So you could call that a C major 9 if you wanted. And I'm also doing this grace note from the A to the B there. So you could call that the 6 grace noting into the 7 like that, playing it twice. And then I'm going down a half step. So now we have B major 9. Same exact voicing, just down a half step. Cool, right? We're then going to take the same exact voicing, and this time we'll go up a major third so that we're on E flat major 9. Keeping that grace note every time. That's your root here, your third, your major 7, and then your 9 on top. Guess what, guys? We're going to use the same voicing, go down a whole step. D flat major 9. Let's review. C major 9 going to B major 9. E flat major 9 going to D flat major 9. And I'm doing each one twice, like this. And that section just repeats over and over and over again. I guess it's 8 bars or something like that. Here, I'll play the A section with the little drum intro up front. Lay back. Then it repeats. Okay, so there at the end of the, we'll call it the A section, instead of going from the E flat major 9 to the D flat major 9, we're going up a half step to E major 9. By the way, in between some of these chords, I'm adding little filler, like I think I did something like that, and that's all coming from the pentatonic scale, which is a great scale to use as filler in this sort of neo-soul, R&B, hip-hop, jazz style, whatever you want to call it. So that right there, in octaves, that's F sharp, G sharp, B, and C sharp. That's all coming from the B major pentatonic scale because, as you know, that's your B major scale, or your B major chord right there. And then it leads really nicely into that E flat major 7 to the D flat major 9. And you can do the same thing. This time, as you're holding out the D flat major 9, you can use that D flat major pentatonic scale. And just so you know, the pentatonic scale is the 1, and this is in D flat, so you can follow along here. This is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. That's all it is, 5 notes in that scale. And get really creative. harmonies even. All right, let's get back to the chord progression here. We left off at the end of the A section. We were holding out that E major 9 chord. And now to go into the B, into the bridge, the melody is gonna go up like that. That's F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, but we're gonna call this a B flat because the chord we're gonna play underneath it is this G minor add 11 chord, G minor 7 add 11. It's kind of a chordal voicing. That's Q-U-A-R-T-A-L, I think it's spelled, quartal, because it's fourths. It's all built on fourths. Cool sound right there. Okay, so we're going, and then from there, we've got this chord, a lot of fun to play. This is F sharp 13. We have the F sharp, it's the root of the chord. A sharp is the third. E is the 7, the dominant 7 there. There's G sharp, that's the 9, and then D sharp is the 13. And I'm doing a grace note from the C sharp to the D sharp on the top. That adds some nice effect. So, and then we're going to resolve to B6-9. This is the B6-9 chord because you've got the B, the D sharp is the third, that G sharp is the 6, and then C sharp is the 9. So it's called B6-9. Now let's break down those 3 chords and figure out why it works. So we had G minor essentially, F sharp dominant 7 essentially, and then B major 7 essentially, or B major, some sort of B major chord. That's coming from, believe it or not, a 2-5-1. Because if B is the 1, if we work backwards, B is the 1, F sharp 13 is the 5 of that 1, so 5-1. Now the 2 chord, you'd expect the 2 chord in this scenario to be a C sharp minor chord. And that works, but why does that G minor work as a substitute for the C sharp minor? Anybody know? What is this interval here? This is a tritone. This is tritone substitution. So we are substituting G minor for C sharp minor because it's a tritone away, and it works really nicely with this little melody that I put on top. All right, guess what? Now we're gonna go to, what are we gonna call this? This is E6-9 sharp 11. It's kind of like a F sharp triad over a E major triad. Let's backtrack a little bit. We had the, and then, love this voicing. This is an E flat minor 11. That's the root, that's the minor third, the 5th, the flat 7 there, the 9, and then the 11 on the top. You can also think of this as an E flat minor triad and a D flat major triad on top. So how does this E chord transition into this E flat minor chord? Well, one way to look at it is the bass line going down a half step. Oftentimes a clue that we're doing some sort of tritone substitution, because a tritone away from E would be B flat, and the B flat, as you guys may know, E flat to E, B flat to E flat is that 5-1 relationship. And then we land on the E flat minor. So it's kind of a tritone substitution. Let's regroup one more time. Now we land on that E flat minor 11, and we're going to do the same technique that we did in the A section, which is using the same voicing but just transposing it down. In this case, we're going to go down a whole step. So we went from E flat minor 11 to D flat minor 11, and then back up to E flat minor 11. We're going to do the same technique, except go up a half step, E minor 11, and here's going to be the true 2-5-1. There's the 5 chord. This is an A13 sus. You have the A, the root in the left hand, and then I have the flat 7 there, the 9, there's the 4, that's the suspended 4th, and then the 13 on top. You can also think of this as a G major 7 over an A. Technically, though, it's functioning as a 5 chord, so I like to think of it as A13 sus. And then if you want, after this voicing, you can play this nice alteration, which is A7, flat 9, flat 13. You've got the same thing here. You got the root, the flat 7, there's your flat 9, there's your 3rd, and there's your flat 13. And the voice slitting works really nicely because these 3 voices all move down a half step, and these common tones stay where they are. And now we're going to resolve to the 1. And look at that, we've got the same voicing that we started with, only now we're on a D. Same deal though, we're grace noting from the 5 into the 6, or the A into the B in this case. And then, well, before we go on, let me do that chord progression one more time. So, there's the 1. And now we're going down a whole step to C major. This is where we did start. And then we're repeating that C and going, and then we're back at the beginning again. Something like that. All right, let's hear the B section again with the backing track, and I'm going to take it from the second A. Here we go. All right, let's see. Is there anything else I want to mention? Well, just remember, you can always use the same voicing and move it around and transpose it up, down, half steps, whole steps, minor thirds, major thirds. You can get some really cool sounds, especially if it's a hip voicing. I think this one's pretty cool. What else? So we can also take a look at how this works compositionally. You know, in the A section, there's not much of a melody. It's just this sort of chord riff that's moving around, and because it's the same voicing, it kind of works together. It all holds together because of that similar voicing. But when we end the A section, that second A section, we change it up, right? We've been doing the same thing over and over again, but the last time we go, so we do something a little bit different. It catches the listener's attention and indicates that something different is about to happen, which is true. We're going into the bridge. So it's a musical cue that we're going to a new section. Now for the bridge, there's much more melody happening, which contrasts nicely to the A section. So the melody goes like this. Which is a really simple melody when you hear it without the chords, and then you put that harmony underneath it, and suddenly it just comes to life. Here it is again with the chords. The harmony really dresses it up, but it's a solid melody to begin with, which really does make a difference. You can't have a wishy-washy melody and think you're going to put hip chords underneath and then it's going to sound good. It's not going to happen, or it's not going to be very successful at least. So again, and with the chords. And then the melody continues. Again, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going outside of this. And funny enough, this is the pentatonic scale again that I mentioned before. And then we go to this A, which is not in that pentatonic scale, and it really sounds like something is about to happen, which, again, it is. And the reason that I went from this is because it transitions nicely back into the beginning. It's not the same exact chords, but it's that same riff. And then when we do go to the same chords that we started with, the C going to the B, it really does sound like we've come full circle and we're back at that A section once again. Guys, if you have any questions or comments about the chords, the progression, the beat in this video, please leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you like the video, you can always click that little like button down below. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll take you guys out with one more time on this